Hey everyone, welcome to Week 4 of Brad Carroll's Game Day. I'm Brad Carroll, Executive Sports Editor of the Bristol Press and New Britain Herald. He's Anthony Della, the only man outside of South Bend that was bad-mouthing Michigan State's shocking overtime win over Notre Dame last week. Anthony picked a Notre Dame upset, which obviously didn't happen. The way the game ended, though, was anything but obvious.
No, it was not obvious at all. I was watching that game when all of a sudden I saw this fake field goal start to unfold. I was kind of sitting there dumbfounded, like, I can't believe the coach made that call. I don't think he had any business making that call, but hey, what do I know? The play worked and Michigan State got an absolutely huge victory.
Yeah, the thing that impressed me the most about the play was the guy who threw the winning pass. Aaron Bates, a former high school quarterback, was so composed in the pocket it took me a second to realize it was a fake. He waited for what seemed like forever, letting the play develop before finally hitting Charlie Gant for the winning touchdown. Give D'Antonio all the credit in the world for the call, but it was Bates who made that play successful.
Yeah, he really did make that play successful, and he proved that all the time the team spent practicing that play paid off. D'Antonio said the team was ready to run the play, and they proved that when it came time to run it on the field.
Now, even with the straight-up loss with Notre Dame, Anthony did pull in a tremendous week. He was 5-1-1 against the spread and 5-2 straight up. How you did better against the spread than straight up, I'll never know, but you have to be happy with the results.
I'm very pleased with those results, and I'm confident that this week's going to be just as good, if not better.
Once again, I lost just 2 games against the spread, going 4-2-1. On the season, I'm 14-7-1 with the points. I did lose my first straight-up pick of the season. After starting a perfect 20-0, Iowa ruined my undefeated streak on the show with a late-night loss to Arizona. Still, with those numbers, I'm not complaining.
And you shouldn't be complaining, but I feel I've got some mojo going, and I'm ready to start producing the type of results that you've been producing these first few weeks, so watch out. I'm coming.
I think everyone's looking forward to your mojo. The third member of our team, Craig Carroll, was the only one of us not to pull in a winning record. He went 3-3-1 on the day, with the only difference being his Michigan State selection. He is 3 games over 500 for the season. He'll grace us with his picks at some point in the show.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's back for another week, maybe with a little bit of a bruised ego after his performance last week. We'll see what he has in store this week.
He'll give us his selections at some point, but we'll start with ours right now. 7 games, 7 picks. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, we'll start this week's episode with a gigantic matchup.
Already?
Wow.
Man, he's wasting no time this week, but I guess he knows how to make an entrance.
He does. This is Craig Carroll's statement right off the bat. Wow, what a shocker. Anthony actually went 5-1-1 last week. Very impressive. Too bad it doesn't mean anything, as your viewers already tune you out after a miserable start to this season. If I could say one thing to the people, trust your gut and avoid his picks.
No, trust my gut.
As for Brad, well, it took you 3 weeks, but you're finally speaking clearly and look a lot less nervous. Good for you. It's a compliment.
Backhanded one, but we'll take whatever nice he chooses to give us.
On to my picks this week. USC giving 22, Stanford giving 4.5, Texas giving 15, Auburn giving 3, West Virginia getting 9. As for Oregon State at Boise State, I was all set to pick the Beavers getting 17 until I saw that in prep for the game, Oregon State painted their practice field blue. Can you say scared out of your mind?
It might be.
So I'll take the Broncos of Boise giving 17. And the game of the week, number 1 Alabama visits Fayetteville to battle number 10 Arkansas. Call me crazy, but I smell a huge upset as Ryan Mallett all but assures himself the Heisman and Arkansas a possible national title with a win over Alabama, 31-28.
Actually, I am going to call him crazy with that pick, but before I get to my selection, I want to rewind to last week when Arkansas got an absolutely huge road victory at Georgia. They blew a lead, but Ryan Mallett, the guy everyone expects to come through in the clutch, did let his team down the field in the last minute through the winning score. Now he's got the number 1 team in the country coming into his house in Arkansas. Everyone's excited about Arkansas, thinks maybe they can pull an upset, but I'll tell you why the upset won't happen. Alabama brings with them a solid running game with Mark Ingram. They bring in a defense that's allowed only 19 points all year, and obviously a great coach in Nick Saban. All those things allow you to not get upset on the road. I think the Tide pull this one out. They win this one 24-20.
Yeah, I can make a case for Arkansas winning this game, and I can make a case for Alabama. The biggest difference between the schools is that the Tide has played in big game after big game in recent years, and that experience is an unbelievable asset in college football. Ryan Mallett probably will win the Heisman Trophy this year, but he won't be playing for the national title. Alabama wins the game 35-27. Next up is UCLA traveling to number 7 Texas as 15-point underdogs. Texas did not impress at all in a victory over Texas Tech last week, but being at home should be enough against a below-average UCLA squad. The Bruins did beat then number 23 Houston last week, so they have some momentum.
They do have some momentum, but I think you're more correct with talking about how they're a below-average team. I'm going to keep my analysis really simple. I just don't think the Bruins on the road can keep up with Texas's offense and scoring points. Texas wins easily 35-13.
Yeah, even though UCLA picked up that big win over Houston last week, this game should go much like the Bruins season opener, a 35-0 loss to Stanford. Texas rolls 38-17. Speaking of Stanford, the 12th-ranked Cardinal travels to Notre Dame as 4.5-point favorites. The Irish always seem to play in games that come down to the final whistle, and this one may be no different.
It may be no different. As we touched on earlier, Notre Dame had their heart ripped out last week in that loss to Michigan State, but they don't have any time to recover. In comes Andrew Luck and Stanford with an offense that's averaging more than 50 points a game. I don't know how they're going to stop Stanford's offense, especially if it's a close game. They've had trouble stopping teams in the clutch on defense. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think the Cardinal are going to come into Notre Dame and win this game 35-24.
I see this one going one of two ways. Either Stanford will roll to an easy victory, or Notre Dame wins a close one in a big upset. I'm wavering, but the pick is Stanford 30, Notre Dame 17. Next up is an afternoon game featuring number 20 Southern Cal at Washington State. USC, a 22-point favorite, will have to play better than they did last week in a close win over Minnesota. But that shouldn't be a problem against a terrible Washington State team.
Yeah, you said it, terrible. You know, USC is not the dominant, fear-inducing team they were the last few years under Pete Carroll, but they're still a pretty talented team in Washington State. They are the same team of the last few years. Terrible. USC is going to win this game easily, 42-16, cover that big spread.
Yeah, not much else to add on this one as Southern Cal rolls to an easy win, 45-10. The next game up is number 22 West Virginia at number 15 LSU. West Virginia, a 9-point underdog, absolutely must win this game if the Big East wants to be taken seriously as a power conference. But that's going to be a tough task at LSU.
Yeah, West Virginia brings whatever pride the Big East has left into Death Valley for this game. They're going up against the LSU team that's not as strong as they normally are, but I don't trust a Big East team on the road against an SEC team. West Virginia is not going to win this game. LSU is 23-17.
Yeah, this game is more about the spread than the actual outcome. LSU will win the game, but the question is, can West Virginia keep the game within a touchdown? I say they do. LSU 27, West Virginia 24. In an SEC showdown that nobody is talking about because of Alabama-Arkansas, number 12 South Carolina is a 3-point underdog at number 17 Auburn. This game features the defense of South Carolina and the offense of Auburn. What's your take on this one?
This is going to be a close game. Both teams already have the important one SEC victory to start their conference slate off on the right foot. These teams are very evenly matched. I think, though, the Gamecocks are ready to pull off this upset 20-17. Both of these teams are kind of asking the same question. Are they for real? Are they ready to contend for an SEC title? I think South Carolina is going to prove that they are. Auburn's going to fall off a little bit.
I thought Auburn had no chance to win its game last week against Clemson, but they came back from 17 down to win in overtime. If they get down by that much in another tight game tonight on ESPN, they might not be able to recover, but I think it won't come to that. Auburn 23, South Carolina 17. And finally, the primetime showdown on ABC features number 24 Oregon State taking on number 3 Boise State. Oregon State is a 17-point underdog, which is a huge number. On the flip side, Boise State might have to win by at least that much to give its national title hopes some legitimacy. This is a huge game for the Broncos.
It is. It's only week 3, but this is the last chance Boise State gets to impress the pollsters against a team from a BCS conference. Everyone knows about Boise State by now. They should. Kellen Moore, the great quarterback, all the experienced starters. There's a lot of talent here. They're at home. ESPN's Game Day's in town for this one. A lot of hype. I think they'll win the game. I don't think they'll cover the huge spread. They will make a statement, but maybe not the statement they need to make for their national title hopes. They'll win this one, though, 38-24.
Yeah, no game we decide to end on in game day is easy, so it's no surprise that I've gone back and forth on whether or not Oregon State will keep the game close. My gut is telling me that the Beavers stick around until the end, but there is another part that says Boise State must make a statement on national television and then win the game going away. So, in the end, I'm going with the latter. Boise State wins it 38-14. That wraps up another edition of Brad Carroll's Game Day. Be sure to check out the print version every Saturday in the pages of the Bristol Press and New Britain Herald, on my blog at bradcarrollgameday.blogspot.com, and don't forget College Game Day Rewind exclusively on my blog. And check out our websites for local sports videos. For Anthony, I'm Brad. We'll see you next week.